I can totally see Crawford outboxing Canelo, like bad, making him look like taking him straight to school. But again, I do not see Crawford stopping Canelo. I don't see him knocking him out. I don't see any of that. I do see Crawford taking him to 12 and
well, they was something until Crawford fought him. So obviously he's doing a great job because he's making everybody look normal.
Apparently no rehydration clause, am I hearing that right? He wants full smoke at that weight.
Let's go, man. That's what Crawford wants. He wants to show the world that he's the best. So, and why put stipulations in there when you know that you can be the best?
A mix of science and energy can be found at Crawford's camp. Not only does he spar with Mayweather, but he also spars with Lester Martinez, the unbeaten knockout artist from Guatemala. For Canelo's size and strength,
along my career, I've been criticized and people have taken credit away from me just to try to diminish my accomplishments just off of pure hate. So what would they be able to say with me going up 2 weight classes? If Canelo become undisputed again and I beat Canelo, what could they say?
Martinez is a clear stand-in. Martinez is a big, strong super middleweight. Their team is not leaving anything to chance. They've brought in partners who can push him, partners who can throw with the kind of powerful volume that Crawford rarely had to deal with at welterweight. This is part of a bigger plan. He needs to practice all the things Canelo might do to him, like power, pressure, timing, and constant body work, and then use the little training video he has to figure out how to beat Canelo. If you like this, please subscribe Punch Vista and click the bell icon for more latest and interesting videos.
Combinations and a very strong fighter, you know, facing him off, he's actually the taller man. So I'm leaning towards Crawford now. I switched my opinion. I think Canelo looked too slow, too flat-footed. One punch at a time. I don't think that's going to be enough for him to beat Crawford. Crawford's too fast, too strong, just too.
Crawford has let the public see that he looks good by hitting sharp jabs, changing up his combinations, and moving quickly from one stance to another. What's interesting, though, is how much bigger he looks for someone who ran for office at 147 pounds for so long. He's now pushing toward 168 pounds, and the extra weight is hard to miss. For some, it's a red flag. Will he move more slowly? Has he traded speed for strength?
How do you think you're going to stop Canelo Alvarez?
I don't gotta stop him. I just gotta beat him. I'm not going in there looking to knock Canelo out. Could it happen? Yes, absolutely. When I look at Canelo, he's a smaller, bigger guy moving up in divisions. Being that these big guys are slower, so they might catch him with something, but he might see it as.
Others say it's a smart change because he's keeping his signature sharpness while getting the frame to handle Canelo's thumping shots. Social media responses were typically divided. Some fans marveled at how clean and flowing Crawford still looked at the heavier weight, sharp as hell. Someone said, he went up in weight, gained more power, and maintained his speed. But others weren't convinced, voicing concern that the added muscle might slow him down or sap the explosiveness that has made him arguably the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world.
Then I started sizing him up, and I'm like, all right, well, Canelo 5'7", my arm's longer.
Yeah.
He's strong, I'm strong.
Right.
It'd be, to me, skill for skill.
Right.
Because Canelo not the biggest 168 fighter. So, I just started looking into it, and I'm like, man.
But the transition to a bigger weight isn't just physical. It's psychological. And Crawford, ever the technician, seems totally unbothered by the magnitude of the leap. I'm the type of guy who likes to feel my fighters out and adjust to what they're doing, he explained when asked about the weight jump. I think that's my greatest attribute, to be able to figure out every opponent I've faced thus far. That approach, That faith in his adaptability has become Crawford's defining trait. He doesn't blow through opponents with tremendous force. He breaks them down. He studies in real time and then dismantles piece by piece against Canelo, a fighter who has made a living walking down opponents. Crawford's goal will be to disrupt the rhythm, pivot off angles, and smother Canelo's forward momentum.
This part, and then you get to see Canelo and see if he's able to maintain the 168-pound division. You know, he's been there for quite some time, and we've seen Canelo go up to 75 to fight Bivol. It didn't look too well for him, you know, but we'll see. I think it's a great matchup. Obviously, Canelo has to do his part in winning and collecting another belt to become undisputed once again in that weight class against William Skull. So it's a great matchup. I think that is definitely eye-pleasing for the crowd.
And there's more to it than just training. The stakes are huge, not just for Crawford, but for boxing. Al-Sheikh, the Saudi advisor behind many of the sport's recent mega events, called this upcoming showdown the biggest fight in boxing history in the last 10 years, or maybe more. He's not exaggerating. This isn't just a title fight, it's a pound-for-pound decider, a legacy-cementing moment for two of the sport's most dominating figures. Al-Sheikh made the news with pride, thanking not just the fighters, but also Netflix TKO. Nick Khan and the entire machinery that made this event possible, Crawford versus Canelo, are being promoted as the one, and it carries every bit of that weight. The branding deliberately echoes Canelo's 2013 clash with Floyd Mayweather, only this time, Canelo is the elder statesman protecting his throne, and Crawford the one looking to carve his place into the annals of greatness.
Terence asked you to help him for Canelo, would you?
Если Canelo тебя попросит помочь в спаррингах, ты согласишься?
Yes, yeah, because I needed more practice for me next fight. If he's calm, no problem.
You think Terence can beat Canelo?
If 12 rounds, maybe yes.
The entire production is intended for global spectacle. Netflix is streaming the bout, making it available to its 300 million subscribers. The move to a streaming site, especially after Netflix's success with Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, signals a shift in how boxing's biggest nights are packaged and delivered. That fight pulled 108 million people for the main event alone. Crawford versus Canelo, with its far higher stakes and wider appeal, could very well surpass that number, pulling in casuals, diehards, and international fans alike. The three-city press tour that starts June 20th in Riyadh, New York, and Las Vegas mirrors the promotional blueprint of old-school blockbusters, with each stop meant to escalate hype and create talking points. And Canelo, he's not treating this like just another fight.
Alvarez versus Terence Crawford has a venue and has a streaming platform. The fight will be in Las Vegas and Netflix will be streaming this fight. Now, I have high hopes for Netflix because like we saw Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, a lot of buffering. I don't think Netflix will make that same mistake again because this is the biggest fight in boxing since Pacquiao and Mayweather. And if Netflix can provide no lagginess, no buffering throughout the whole event, Netflix is going to be very respectable.
This is his age, his weight, and his house after resecuring the IBF belt by beating William Skull in Saudi Arabia. Canelo now holds all 4 big belts at 168. Crawford was ringside that night watching closely, and the tension between the two was obvious even before the post-fight face-off. Canelo wasted no time reminding fans and Crawford of what he thinks is the pecking order. "He's a great fighter," Canelo said, "but he's not Canelo on September 13th in Las Vegas. I tell the world who runs the Sarah." There's confidence in his words, but also a warning. Crawford isn't coming up to 168 to be competitive. He's coming to take over, and Canelo knows it. This fight is also being used as the world debut for Zuffa Boxing Dana.
Ask about Terence Crawford. Do you think he'll add to your legacy, the fight with
Yeah,
Crawford?
a lot. He's a really good fighter. 2 times undisputed champion. He accomplished so much. So can add a lot to my
White's long-rumored entrance into the sweet science, White's participation along with the Saudi promotional machine, and Netflix's Global streaming power make this one of the most layered, commercially aggressive boxing events in recent memory. It's not just about who wins, it's about who controls the future of the sport. The big difference can't be ignored. Crawford is going up 14 lbs.
In the last decade? Yeah, ever. This is one of the biggest fights ever. And obviously I'm honored to be promoting, but yes, when they say we're promoting it, I'm doing the promotion, we're doing the production, the event ops, PR, I mean, everything to do with the fight, just like a UFC fight, while at the same time promoting UFC Noche. So it'll all be the same weekend. It's a badass weekend of fights.
From his last fight, a win over Israel Madrimov. For a fighter who spent years perfecting his game, at 147, that's no small move. And while he did fight at 154 recently, 168 is Canelo's backyard, a weight class where he's dismantled bigger men like Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders. The task Crawford faces is multi-dimensional. He has to match the physicality without losing precision, withstand the body shots without becoming static, and execute his game plan without letting Canelo set the pace.
A good little man has never beaten a good big man in the history of the game. Unless you go back to certain situations with Pacquiao beat me, but I was a dead man walking anyway. But a good little man never beats a good big man, so it's a tough test for Crawford, but I'm not counting him out. The bottom line, and this is the truth again, it's a money grab. That's it.
Crawford's strength lies in his flexibility. He doesn't come in with a single plan. He studies, absorbs, and adapts. "We're going to see come fight time what my advantage is," he said. That's not a vague answer, it's a view into how he fights. He never shows his full hand until the time is right. That's how he broke down Errol Spence. That's how he neutralized Sean Porter, and that's the method he's likely bringing into the Canelo fight. Not trying to win all 12 rounds, but waiting for the moment where he sees what no one else sees, and
Canelo a real problem now. I think early on you could see, he's a mover and he's obviously a very good boxer. I think to start with, when he's throwing his jab, it was falling short. They weren't emphatic punches. And I think as it slowed down, it was then connecting. He was catching. It makes that Crawford fight, I think, more an intriguing fight. I always say a good big and a beat a good little one. And he's got to give a lot of weight away, Crawford, but it could give Canelo a real problem now because Canelo was getting caught.
Watching that, do you think Crawford might be perhaps
acts as Manny Pacquiao re-enters the boxing spotlight to prepare for his own return. The Hall of Famer didn't waste time weighing in on the year's most debated battle. Pac gave a calm but pointed message for Terence Crawford. Speed, style, and strength. That's what it'll take to beat Canelo Alvarez, coming from a man who once danced through divisions, flattening champions with quick feet and quicker hands. The wisdom doesn't sound generic, it sounds lived.
Any advice for Crawford moving up in weight? You did it so many times and you were successful. What do you tell Crawford? Any advice?
My advice to him is just focus on speed and the speed and style.
Pacquiao knew what it was like to give up size and mass, but make it meaningless through angles and aggression. Then again, Crawford isn't just any slickster. He's a fighter who likes to play and wins most of those gambles. He welcomes pressure, then pivots out. He lets opponents walk into traps, and unlike many of Canelo's past opponents, Crawford doesn't fight scared. He doesn't throw and run, he throws plants and reloads. If he can keep Canelo from planting his feet long enough to generate power, there's a very real chance this fight plays out closer to the Bivol model than the Golovkin Wars. But will this be the case when Canelo hits him? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more information.